What's up, everyone? Welcome to the FAA podcast. Got another good one today. A little bit of free agency movement going on still. We're still rolling with trades. Trades are still going. We got another one to talk about this show. But I think this show is more about extensions, re-signs, than it was really free agency moves per se. Of course, we'll wrap it up at the end with our Steelers Chargers mock draft, continuing that 3-round series. And it's wild because they just keep changing with all the free agency moves. I think like first week in April, I might redo my draft needs. That'll finally be like slowed down and more pro day season. But anyways, let's get it rolling. Nothing breaking news, really. The breaking news was at 6 a.m. this morning, by the way. So we'll just go. Let's start off with a trade. The Vikings getting a running back, Jordan Mason, and a 25 sixth rounder, number 187, going to Minnesota for a 25 fifth, number 160, and a 26 6. We just got him a running back last show on Friday in the mock draft, Travion Henderson, in the third round, I think it was, because we ended up with 2 third rounders by trading back, and so they don't need to draft one now, I guess.
No, definitely not. Maybe they'll pick one at 187, probably further down the line. But yeah, bringing in Mason, who is 25 years old, going to turn 26 this year. Fantastic getting a player like that, and then immediately signing him to a 2-year, $7 million contract that can become $12 million based on incentives. That 2026 6th-round pick, that was the pick they acquired in their Ed Ingram trade to the Houston Texans.
Mm-hmm.
So this trade essentially is Jordan Mason and moving down 27 spots for Ed Ingram, which incredible value by Minnesota. Moving away from an offensive guard that really did not show up for a running back that you needed. I like Aaron Jones a ton, but in this league, the best teams have a committee, a running back by committee. Jordan Mason, as I mentioned, younger. He had a great season this year with San Francisco. He averaged like over 5 yards a carry. I mean, he really stepped up in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. So I'm really excited about this. I thought this is a great pickup. His analytics and his ability to run in stacked boxes is something Minnesota desperately needs. And him and Jones look like they could be a really good duo in the backfield for the Minnesota offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great trade. And it made sense for the 49ers as well. Isaac Guerrero played excellent last year. They really had too many backs because guys just kept stepping up in CMC's absence, and as other guys would go down, like Mason did as well. So, yeah, I mean, I like it. Smaller level deal, 2 for $7, fully guaranteed there, 12 max, like you said. And the 49ers, by the way, talk about accumulating draft capital. People talk about all the players they lost this year. Well, look at their draft picks. They have, by my count, 12, including 2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and 4 sevenths. So they are loaded for day 3, 8 on day 3 there, and 4 top 100 picks. All right, let's go to a couple of releases. Some big free agent, a big free agent last year or 2 years ago, I can't remember. But Titans releasing corner Chidobe Awuzie. They got him as a big ticket free agent from the Cowboys. and just never worked out. I believe he was injured for a good amount of that. And yeah, they traded for L'Jarius Sneed last year anyways. So the Vikings today releasing center Garrett Bradbury post June 1 cut spreads the dead money hit over this year and next year. I don't have those numbers, but it helps regardless to help the team save money on the cap when they get that on June 2nd.
Yeah, I think I saw this frees up about $5.25 million for Minnesota. I know they were trying to trade him, trying to find a trade partner, but I mean, if no one's going to bite, you have to cut your losses. He's still a competent starting NFL center. He just never really blossomed into that first-round pick pedigree that this team was expecting. He was just always undersized. He was a pretty short NFL center by modern standards, and it never really translated. He was at best average, but I'm sure there's a team out there. I said the Patriots made sense for a trade partner after releasing their franchise center. I still think they might pursue him. I think that would make a ton of sense.
Hey, man, I know where you go to get really good at offensive line. There's this place called Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
That's true.
And
I think Bradbury could be a very solid guard. I think he's just a little
university. Yeah. Extensions. Here's where the money happened. Like I said, this morning, about 6 a.m. is when it came down. The Bengals signing both wide receiver Jamar Chase and wide receiver T. Higgins to 4-year deals. Jamar Chase for $161 million. That's ridiculous. Highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, surpassing Myles Garrett. T. Higgins 4 for $115. That's pretty solid by himself. That gets 2 as well. Anything over $100 million, I'll give to Chings for. By far the highest paid number 2 receiver in the NFL. I'm still shocked we're here. I thought for sure T was gone, but they prioritized wide receivers over pass rush because there's no way, even with the increase in the cap, there's no way I can see this working out where they still have enough money to sign Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, they'd either have to trade away pieces to free up the cap for Henderson or just trade Henderson. I don't see how this works for them. I don't like this deal for Cincy. I mean, good for Chase and Higgins, get paid. And I'm not saying they weren't worth that money in terms of their talent. I mean, you win the offensive triple crown as Jamar Chase, it's going to happen. It's just the fact that you bring back 2 wide receivers on $100 million deals when you have glaring issues all over the roster. You mentioned pass rush. I'm going to mention the other side of the line. That offensive line has so many question marks. Their running back situation is okay, but not great. Their tight ends are meh. It's really the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins show. And I don't, that's not how you build a championship roster. Like, this team went to the Super Bowl in 22 and hasn't seen the upside since. I think this is a bad move from the Bengals front office.
Yeah, and they let go of Lou Anarumo after a single down year, which I didn't really think should have happened. Although they were very, very bad on defense. But they haven't done anything really in free agency when you look at their roster. They signed Samaje Perine to be the third running back there. They signed a TJ Slayton to give them some interior D-line depth. And they signed Oren Burks, which we'll talk about. I'll just give it to you now. They signed Oren Burks from the Eagles for 2 years. to somewhat help the linebacker depth. But you look at it, Trey Hendrickson, Jermaine Pratt, those are two guys that have been given permission to seek trades. So those are Trey Hendrickson is definitely the best player they got on defense. Jermaine Pratt, arguably the second best one. So it's like you're really gonna look at trading your best two players because you can't afford to sign them. I just didn't see the value in T. I see the value in Jamar Chase for sure. He's one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the NFL. But to sign T. Higgins, especially when you're drafting guys, right? You drafted Jermaine Burton in the 3rd round last year. For what? You drafted Charlie Jones in the 4th round the year before. For what? Andre Iashivas in the 6th round, 23. For what? What are you drafting these guys for, if not to be the second guy eventually? That's what I think me and a lot of other people thought Jermaine Burton was drafting for, was to replace T. Higgins. Because he's going to be on a rookie deal, a lot cheaper. You can afford to do other things. You don't need – you need a guy. You need one guy. You need a guy, and then you need a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at the team stats now. I mean, they were 6th in points scored, 9th in total yards. They're 1st in the league in passing yards per game. Rushing yards per game, 30th. Points against per game, 25th. Total yards against per game, 25th. Pass yards against per game, 21st. Rush yards against, 19th. Sacks, 24th. This is with Henderson. Like,
Hendrickson.
This could go to the dumpster without Henderson.
Hendrickson,
sorry. Hendrickson. I get him mixed up. But my point still stands. It's like this team was already a bottom 10 defense in the league. And now you are putting yourself in a position where not one, but two of your best defensemen have a great chance of hitting the market. And I don't trust the Bengals draft history. I don't think they're great drafters, especially outside of the 1st round. So I again, good for Chase. Good for Chase. Good for Higgins. Just not good for the Bengals. This doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, the Bengals also, you mentioned the draft stuff, that the Bengals also have one of the smallest scouting departments in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it makes sense as well there. Or at least they used to. I don't know if that's still the case. I believe it is, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if their ownership.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly why. That's how it was. Yeah. But yeah, sure. Go ahead, Cincinnati. We will let's see if these contracts are on the books on Spot Track right now. I know I kind of like over the cap better, but I always have Spot Track up. So Bengals 28.2 million it's showing right now. 18th in the league in cap space. And yeah, it does have the cap hits for those two guys on here already. So they still got money to play with. But again, Trey Hendrickson looking for a deal and a trade.
And 17 teams have more.
Right.
So if you're looking at a guy, the 17 teams that are looking at them also are looking at, you're not going to outbid them.
But it's also the fact that you look at the roster, like I'm looking at the ages right now, they don't have a lot of young guys. Their top 5 or top 10 salaries in terms of cap numbers are all 25 plus. Jamar Chase 25. Got T. Higgins at 26. Geno Stone's at 26. Other than that, I mean, they got Evan McPherson at 26, Cam Taylor-Britt at 26, Dax Hill at 25. I just don't see a ton of guys that are going to want or going to garner big money extensions. So maybe that's what they're seeing. Maybe they're looking at their roster and like, we got these other young guys that are on cheap deals right now that probably we're not going to re-sign later anyways. So I don't know. I'm trying to rationalize it.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go to the Texans. Texans making a big move as well today. They signed corner Derek Stingley Jr. to a 3-year, $90 million deal, 89 mil guaranteed. Blows the top off the corner and defensive back market. $30 million per year.
Who gave you a soundboard, man?
Yeah. See
what? What?
Yeah.
Man.
30 million. 30
What?
million. Yeah. 25 mil was the number to beat for JC Horn like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. 30 mil for Derek Stingley. And Sauce Gardner already ordered a new diamond necklace at his fat guy Joe's shop. Because he knows what's coming down the Jersey Turnpike there.
Not wrong.
The Eagles doing some more work. Howie is once again a genius. They signed right tackle Lane Johnson to a 1-year, $25 million extension. He's signed through 2027 now. They increased his salary by $8 million and added $30 million in guarantees over the next 2 seasons. So, yeah, good payday for Lane Johnson.
Yeah. You got to protect your QB, and Lane Johnson's one of the best at doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Decade plus.
Mm-hmm.
Re-signings. How about the 49ers? They re-signed fullback Kyle Juszczyk. 2 years, $8 million. I'm disappointed, Kyle. I thought you were going to come to Western Pennsylvania and play for the Black and Gold to finish your career out. You deserve to do that, but whatever. Stay on the West Coast. That weird Pacific time.
Yeah. I thought he was going to go to the Steelers. It made perfect sense. We talked about it like a week ago, but Shanahan loves Juszczyk. Juszczyk is utilized very well in that offensive system, and makes sense to keep him.
I saw a comment on this tweet, and it said, "Yeah, because his wife just told the team she made new jackets."
Yeah, man. I mean, you can't let her go. She's like, I ordered all this material, and you're really gonna not re-sign my guy? What am I gonna do with all this red?
I already got the maroon and gold, damn it.
I got it, damn it. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, we are going to talk Steelers. They re-signed wide receiver Ben Skoranek to a 2-year deal. Traded for him, I think that was last year in the preseason. And good special teamer for sure, and depth wide receiver. Still has good size there. A couple other re-signings. Commanders, they re-signed defensive end Clelin Ferrell, and the Rams re-signed running back Ronnie Rivers. The other team we're talking about today is the Chargers. The Chargers, they signed Eagles guard Mekhi Becton to a 2-year, $20 million deal. A little lower than I thought he might get on the open market. I'm surprised the Eagles did not try to match that because I feel like that's pretty low for an above average at the very worst guard. But again, we'll see. We'll see how he does outside of Jeff Stoutland's watch.
Yeah, I think that might be a big reason why his value wasn't perceived as higher around the league. Probably just like, is this a flash in the pan, or just Stoutland's baby boy, or is he actually like a competent right guard in the NHL level? Chargers obviously taking the risk on that. I think he'd fit well in the Harbaugh system as long as he continues to translate what he had in Philadelphia. But yeah, I think a lot of teams kind of had that hesitation of, oh, is he a system guy, or is he actually like a above average right guard in the NFL? So
Yeah.
good dealings for Chargers.
Yeah, well, and the Eagles have 3.4 million dead cap hit for his void year, so that's cool. But yeah, I mean, the Eagles like their guys. Obviously, they traded for Kenyon Green as well, and they also have other guys that have worth. They still have rookie Trevor or second year guy Trevor Keegan that they drafted last year, who I kind of like there. And then there's other guys like Darian Kennard, who's been with the team for a couple years, and Brett Toth, the consummate interior veteran there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there'll be more guys, but yeah, no, like I said, I was kind of surprised. The Eagles have they're 20th in cap space, but 23.4 million right now in cap space. So they could have fit a contract like that under the books.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens, Lamar Jackson has a new backup. They signed Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush, 2 years, 12.2 million, 4.2 million guaranteed. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure the scheme. I always like to match the quarterbacks together, guys that can do similar things. And when you're looking at Lamar, obviously no one can do what Lamar can do. But historically, you've looked at what the Ravens have done at the backup quarterback positions, and it's been guys that can run, that can really move. And Cooper Rush is young enough that he can still maneuver around and run a little bit. But it's not like the guys that they've had in the past, like I said. Like the Josh Johnsons, like the Snoop Huntleys, the Trace McSorleys. So, yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one for sure. But it did fill a need. QB2 is one of my draft needs for the Ravens, so they do not have to worry about that going young with that position this year with Rush under their belt now.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think that was very intentional. I think they didn't want to get the Huntleys and the Josh Johnsons of the world. I think they really just wanted a more composed, pocket-oriented quarterback. And that's not to say Cooper Rush is a statue back there. He does pretty well rolling to his right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something he's shown flashes of down in Dallas. I think the Ravens see this as you can't just have Lamar Jackson light, because Lamar Jackson's skill set is so specific, and even a lesser form of it is not a great quarterback. I like Cooper Rush a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense for the Ravens. I think for a team like the Ravens, they need a more trustworthy backup quarterback. I get that Huntley and Josh, how you say his name, Johnson. Sorry, they were backups in the mold of Lamar, but you don't really want a backup in the mold of Lamar, if that makes sense. You want a backup in the mold of a Joe Flacco. You don't want, and it's unsexy, I get it, but I think Cooper Rush just makes sense. I think he's a really good backup. I think this makes a ton of sense for the Ravens. And
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. Because the issue that has plagued the Ravens whenever Lamar has been hurt is the lack of a passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Huntley, Josh Johnson, Trace McSorley, there might have been one or two other guys in there.
Robert
But
Griffin III.
yeah. Well, RG3 is pretty solid passer.
Yeah, he still had a rocket arm from Baylor. Yeah, I remember.
But yeah, the rest of those guys though, you just didn't see the passing game whenever Lamar was injured. So I think the Ravens are, like you're saying, kind of guarding themselves against that. And yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
The Eagles striking a deal. What do you know? Sign another Giant. Giants edge rusher Azeez Ojulari. 1 year, $4 million. I don't want to do it, Jimmy, but I got to do it. This is the 2024 Zach Bond. Just saying. Or the 2025 Zach Bond, I should say. I'm telling you right now. It's another Georgia boy on the defense, by the way. Go Dogs. And that's all we do. We load up on Georgia players, but it's fine. Azeez Ojulari, very productive with the Giants. I think he had 6 sacks last year or something like that. And I don't know why he wasn't re-signed, but cool. I mean, he's had injury issues. Doesn't matter. The Eagles have done a very nice job of retooling the pass rush this offseason with more to go, because I think they're definitely going to draft 1 or 2 guys. But to, get Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche as well. I love those 2 signings, but I love the Ojulari one even more than the Uche.
Yeah, I don't know why the Giants let him go. He had 6 sacks this last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know why he let him go, especially to a division rival at a dirt cheap price.
Joe Shane just loves giving them to the Eagles.
I guess, man.
We had a lot of intra-divisional moves here on the show and free agency this weekend. The Texans, they signed Jags corner Ronald Darby, 1 year, $2.5 million deal there. Texans really loading up on the secondary with Ronald Darby, the Stingley extension, and then I forget. I think they did one. And then they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the Kenyon Green trade as well. So really trying to shore up that secondary this offseason for Houston.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys, a couple guys getting 1 year deals here. The Cowboys, they signed Eagles wide receiver Paris Campbell to 1 year deal. 3rd NFC East team. Next year, we're going to see Paris Campbell. Cowboys wide receiver Paris Campbell has signed with the Commanders on a 1 year deal. You got to complete it. No one ever does, though. I don't know why. Like, guys always get 3 teams in a division, and they never complete the quartet there.
Yeah, we're still waiting for Zadarius Smith to sign with the Bears.
Yeah. The Dolphins, they signed Seahawks corner Artie Burns to a 1 year deal. Made a ton of sense. Went to University of Miami, so back home there in Miami. The Bears, they signed Commanders wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus on a 1 year deal. Steelers signed Brown safety Juan Thornhill to a 1 year deal. Love this move. They let a couple guys go in free agency. Needed to get another safety in the room there, which they don't even have this signing on our lads yet. But I really like it. I mean, we'll see how many safeties they keep. I would not be shocked if Juan Thornhill, I don't really remember his measurables, but I would not be shocked if he's a hybrid guy. Hybrid, sub-package defender.
Mhm.
And then the last one here, the Jets, they signed Chiefs defense tackle Derek Nutty. All right, couple visits. The Vikings, they hosted Texans corner Jeff Okuda. Another hosting there. Vikings love their corners.
They love their former 3rd overall picks that they can revitalize. It's another chance, man, but on the defensive side.
Yeah. The Giants. So we're still waiting to see what New York does, but they hosted another quarterback. They hosted Browns quarterback Jameis Winston. So the list has now grown from Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston now, with Aaron Rodgers still waiting. And the Bears, they hosted Falcons wide receiver Rondale Moore, so that makes 2 NFC North teams, Vikings, Bears, interested in Rondale Moore.
Yeah, I'd be interested in see. I mean, especially with the Bears signing former wide receivers commander Zacchaeus. I can never say his name. I'm going to call him Zach. Zacchaeus. I should call him Zach. I wonder if that changes anything with Rondale Moore to the Bears. I'm not super shocked the Vikings let him leave the building. I think a lot of the concern is his injury history. Maybe there's something in the his physical that they kind of hesitated at. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. I don't have anything else. Tweets have stopped. So let's get to the Steelers-Chargers mock draft here. Steelers just 2 picks, number 21 and 83. Gave up 52 to the Seahawks in the DK Metcalf trade. Chargers with all 3 of theirs, 22, 55, 86. Yep, all their own. They do not trade a lot. Just like the Bengals and the Colts. The Colts are literally like the most bland draft page to look at. Because they have all 7 of their own, and that's how they like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Got this thing loaded up here. 3 rounds. Slow draft. See if we get crazy like we have been. Abdul Carter, number 1 to the Titans. Cam Ward to the Browns. Giants going Armand Membu. Patriots, Will Campbell. Travis Hunter to the Jags. So we're going a little bit more chalky. Ashton Gent to the Raiders. I still don't understand that one. Mason Graham to the Jets. Will Johnson to the Panthers. I'm okay with that. Shador Sanders, that'd be a windfall for the Saints. Tedero McMillan for the Bears. Michael Williams to the 49ers. Shamar Stewart for the Cowboys. We got Tyler Warren for the Dolphins. All right, wait, hold on. I got to look at something real quick. So we got the Chargers and the Steelers. Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. Jalen Walker for the Colts. Malachi Starks for the Falcons. Derek Harmon for the Cardinals. Bengals going Matthew Golden. My goodness, Kelvin Banks was there. Kelvin Banks to the Seahawks. Tyler Booker for the Bucks. James Pierce, Eagles coming up ahead of the division or the intrastate rivalry here. 32-64 and a second next year. That is maybe a Howie type deal. I don't know. I don't like that. That's way too much for me. Your first, your second, and a second. I don't know. That's a lot for 12 picks, but just saying. All right, we're on with the Steelers here. Bucks selling us the house. I like this one though. Let me see. We'll have to see who's on the board, but the Bills make a very intriguing offer. We don't have a second round pick, so and that one doesn't even make sense. why would we move back one less spot, but move 2 spots down in the second round, or
You want to keep one of your sons.
5 spots down in the second round? Yeah, but that doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have the higher second round pick and one less in the first round. But let's look at the Steelers here. So again, I haven't updated my draft needs. Originally, obviously, it's quarterback. We don't have one. And to be honest, 56, if we took the Bills offer, would be a great opportunity to draft one. With the top 2 guys gone already and not really anyone else worthy of first round pedigree right now. So I got corner as well. Corner, I definitely think is still a need. They signed Darius Slay, Brandon Eccles, both those guys. Well, at least Darius Slay, elder statesman there. Eccles, pretty solid slot guy, but they need more. And I think they need another true CB2 out there. I have running back as well. That's not a need anymore. They signed Kenny Gainwell to be the RB2 to go with Jalen Warren, who they put a second round restricted free agent tender on. Wide receiver. Wide receiver is not as big of a need. I still think it's a need, though. They need to get depth. And I wouldn't be opposed to the third round pick. Steelers love day 2 wide receivers. So the third round pick we have currently, I would not be shocked if we go wide receiver there. Interior D line, yeah, Cam Hayward's getting long in the tooth. He's still a beast, but we need some guys, some impact defenders on the interior D line, especially at the depth positions, because we let Larry Ogunjobi go, and then offensive tackle depth. Let Dan Moore Jr. go in free agency, so they do not have a quality swing tackle currently on the roster. So that's how I see it. What do we have available here? So would not be opposed here. Jahdae Barron, he's a jack of all trades, can play safety, can play corner, can play nickel. Nicky Manwari lit up the combine, but he's a safety. Siobhan Revel, love him. Lockdown injury concern for him, though, coming off the ACL. Should be ready by training camp. Other than that, again, with DK in tow, I don't think we need a first-round wide receiver. I loved the Emeka Egbuka thing whenever we were going to go. My plan was Cooper Kupp, trade for Cooper Kupp, draft Emeka Egbuka, and you got a good threesome there. But I think we go day 2 wide receiver for Pittsburgh. Do you think we need to go one of these corners, though? Or do we?
They're not going to be there with the Bills pick. Like, they're definitely not going to be there. The problem I also have too, in terms of the needs you mentioned, I don't see any of those really there at 30. I mean, right. I think Barron and Revel are going to be gone. I think Simmons will probably be gone. So there's that offensive tackle depth you mentioned. I think like guys like Tyreek, Egbuka and Burden are going to be gone. I think guys like maybe Miller or Nolan or Kenneth Grant could be available, or Greg Zabel. Ben Morris could be available at 30 if you're going to go corner there. But I think if you need a corner and you need a day 1 like corner for a team that needs to compete next year, I think you take Barron or Revel here because they're not going to be there with the Bills pick. I've never seen a draft where they get past 25. As much as I love the Bills trade, and I completely get it, I'm sticking and picking with Barron here.
Yeah, that's what I would go with too. We're going to stay here. I love Siobhan Revel. I think he is a true shutdown corner. But with the ACL, you're never the same year 1 back. So with Barron, you're getting a healthy guy. I think he was banged up as well for Texas in the playoffs. But you're getting a guy that can not only play outside, but can play inside, can play safety on occasion as well. So it gives you depth at multiple spots. All right, Falcons selling us.
Jeez.
They're selling everything for Atlanta to get up. They want Nicky Manwaria, I guess. I don't know. That's not a bad play for San Francisco.
Not bad, but that's dropping 21 spots. That's a lot.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Bucks want to sell everything too. All right, for LA here. Let me look at the roster as I do this as well, just like I did for Pittsburgh. I had edge number one need. It is still the number one need. Maybe not number one, but they let Joey Bosa go. Tuli Tuipulotu has come into his own, coming into year 3 here. As a second rounder in 23. They re-signed Khalil Mack, re-signed Bud Dupree. But obviously those guys are older. So they definitely need someone for the future to pair with Tuipulotu. Corner is a big need, I think. They signed Dante Jackson, Benjamin St. Juste, but Asante Samuel's still unsigned. They got great value with Cam Hart and Tarheeb Still last year, but they need another guy. Center, they filled that. Bradley Bozeman they re-signed, or they signed. Yeah, they re-signed him, I believe. A linebacker here, Yeah, they re-signed Denzel Perriman, so they're fine. And they signed Troy Dye as well from the Vikings. Or re-signed Troy Dye, I should say.
Yeah, he was there last year.
Wide receiver. Yeah. They signed Mike Williams back from the Jets. They re-signed Jalen Reagor. They got Brendan Rice going into year 2. Darius Davis going into year 3, Lad McConkey into year 2, Quentin Johnston going into year 3. So again, it's not the biggest need, but I do think they still should get something to add to that. Interior D line and tight end are the other ones. Interior D line, they did some good work there. Deshaun Hand, Naquan Jones, they re-signed to your Tart. So I don't think that's a big issue anymore. And tight end, I still think is an issue. They have Will Dissly, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So tight end's definitely a big one. Tight end, we have one available. Of course, it's a Michigan man and Colston.
I was going to say it's a Michigan guy for Harbaugh.
And I would not be opposed to going.
I'm not opposed to it. I think Loveland's good. I think, and especially Harbaugh, there's some familiarity with him and knowing his strengths in college. If we're not doing tight end, I'd go either Ravel or Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. But Loveland seems like kind of a match made in heaven for Harbaugh and Justin Herbert.
I think it is too. Personally, I would go with Siobhan Revel. Corner is the more premium position. And I think the issue that we're having, or at least what I think is an issue, people saw what Brock Bowers did last year.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, and now people think potentially that every rookie tight end first round pick can do what Brock did. No one's going to do what Brock did. No one. Brock's one of one. So Colston Loveland's definitely not Brock. Totally different player. Tyler Warren is closer to Brock Bowers. He's just not as fast. I love Tyler Warren, my Penn State boy. But I'm not opposed to going Colston Loveland. I would personally go with Siobhan Revel, though, because of positional value.
I can't disagree. As much as I think a tight end would be great for Herbert, I think this team's defense needs to be just strengthened. It's getting older on the defensive side of the ball. honestly, I would almost put Revel and Scorton over Loveland, just in terms of needs and guys that fit the mold for what the Chargers need. But I'll agree with Revel here at 22.
All right, Packers going Nick Scorton. There you go. Nicky Manwari for the Vikings.
I actually do like that pick a lot.
Gray Zabel for the Texans. Jahad Campbell for the Rams. Josh Simmons to the Ravens. That's interesting with the Ronnie Stanley re-signing. Emeka Egbuka for the Lions. Tyleek Williams, the Commanders. Bills going, okay, traded back a couple spots. Luther Burden, Broncos coming up 32 and a third next year. That's solid for Denver. Donovan Jackson for the Chiefs. Mike Green for the Bills. Browns going Kenneth Grant. Oh, bro, I was about to pause and try to trade up.
Mm.
That would have been a long trade up, and we'd have had to give up something, but I was ready to come up and get Colston Loughlin in top second.
Yeah.
Giants took him, though. Dang it.
Mm-hmm.
Carson Swessinger over the Titans. Jags going Harold Fannin. Donovan Ezra-Owaku for the Bengals, 49-81 from the Raiders. Maxwell Hairston for the Patriots. Josh Connerly for the Bears. Trey Harris to the Saints. Bears going Princely Uman-Mielen. Ariante Ursary for the Jets. Jonas Sabainea for the 49ers. Tate Ratledge for the Cowboys. Go Dogs. Deion Walker for the Colts. Walter Nolan, Bills, coming up 56-109 to Atlanta. Landon Jackson for the Cards. Xavier Watts to the Dolphins. Darian Porter for the Raiders. Seahawks going Jalen Milroe. There's your depth under Sam Darnold. Omarion Hampton for the Broncos. Ben Morrison for the Seahawks with the DK Metcalf pick. Trey Amos for the Bucks. Isaiah Bond for the Packers. And we got the Seahawks want to come up a long way for only a second next year. No, sir. And the Ravens. That's the Ravens here. I don't know why the Seahawks logo's there, but it's the Ravens. 4 spots for 91 against 125. That one's not bad. I would consider that one. So we have edge, though. And what do you know? It's an Ohio State guy.
That's the guy I was going to say right here.
Replace an Ohio State guy.
Exactly. Keep it in house, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it, man.
Yeah, I think it's a match.
With what are we looking at here? Okay, yeah, there's no real tight end. I like Arroyo in the 3rd round.
I think Arroyo could be there at 86.
Yeah, so I think it's perfect. The only other one I would consider probably, we got a couple wide receivers here. Alec A. Manor, Jaden Higgins, both big body guys. They give you another big body opposite of Mike Williams.
But you got that in Quentin Johnston, though.
With Ladd in the slot, yeah. But Mike Williams, I mean, he's on a 1-year deal and hasn't really produced since he was with the Chargers last. So I wouldn't be shocked if I liked Higgins over A.O. Manor. But anyways, yeah, let's go JTT here. Unless you wanted to drop 4 spots and think he's going to be there.
No, I don't think he's going to be there.
Okay.
Especially considering he's like the only guy at that position in that area of value. I don't think he'd be there.
Could pick up an extra 3rd. Okay.
Nah. I almost think the Ravens would take him if they moved up.
Probably. Like Kyle Kennard.
There's an edge right there, exactly.
Andrew Makuba for the Panthers. I like that. Braden Swinson, edge rushers galore, Jimmy. You were right.
I was right.
Swinson to the Texans. Wyatt Millum for the Ravens. Darius Alexander for the Lions. Jackson Dart. Giants coming to get their quarterback. 65 and a 5th next year. Low cost. Cam Williams. The Bills. Caleb Johnson.
The Chiefs piss me off.
Azariah Thomas for the 49ers. 75-113 to the Broncos. Xavier Restrepo. to the Commanders. Texans coming up for O-line. 79 and a third next year for Marcus Embo. L.K. O'Manor for the Browns. Jalen Noel to the Raiders. Jack Besh to the Patriots wide receiver run here. TJ Sanders for the Jags. Emory Jones for the Saints. Kevin Winston for the Bears. Jets. Cowboys coming up for Travion Henderson. 76 and 174. Josiah Stewart for the Panthers. Mason Taylor to the Broncos. Jets going Kyron Lacey. Chris Paul to the Patriots. Where are we at? 83.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really the type of receiver I want, though. They already have big guys. Pickens and DK are big enough. They don't really need a big guy. But dang, man, the value's there for Jaden Higgins. Gosh. Tez Johnson would be the guy I'd want. He's small. Can work the slot. All right. I'll wait and hope Tez is there. Torrey Horton to the Cardinals. Dorian Strong to the Chiefs. Colts going Jalen Royals. Of course, all the wide receivers are going. Lathan Ransom to the Raiders. Jaden. Titans almost did me dirty.
Did it.
Titans almost did me dirty, though. They almost did me dirty. Like I said, I love Jaden Higgins. Not going to accept that Dolphins offer, by the way. But 103 and 120 for the Seahawks given up from the Titans. No, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, if the bodies just did not match up. And we are here. And
I do. I'm not even kidding. I would take
you can't do it, though, I don't think. I think it's just stick with Russell. I have said the whole time to stick with Russell Wilson. I think he played very well. They get more pieces around him. They can play better. And plus year 2 in the system, I think would be better anyways. I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers at this point, even though it's really Aaron versus Russell. That's apparently what it is. But with Mason Rudolph back, I'm okay with not drafting a quarterback this year at all, unless the value is there, which I don't think it is. I mean, it kind of is. Quinn Ewers, I think, is much better than the 83rd overall pick, and I love Quinn Ewers. But I think, like I said, my goal was to improve the roster around whatever veteran guy they get, and then get the guy in 2026 when it's supposed to be a better QB draft. With that being said, we already got a corner, which is fantastic. Now, what I think they need to go do is, I think Tez Johnson is a fantastic pick right here. Or, if they wanted to, more explosive than Kenny Gainwell would be Quinshon Judkins. So I think it's offense, or Alfred Collins was there too, right? Yeah, that would be a bad pick either. They definitely need interior D-line depth. Omar Norman Lott, Shamar Turner, all those guys are there. But my pick would be Tez Johnson. Solidify the top 3 wide receivers for whoever's going to play quarterback.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I would still put, at this point, with no QB other than Mason Rudolph really signed, I still kind of lean Quinn Ewers until news of otherwise. I guess I can agree and just say, like, I will assume someone like Russ or Rodgers or Mason Rudolph is going to be the starter unless told otherwise by the Steelers. I don't know how much I love Tez Johnson. I think he's really undersized. Like, I get it. Wide receivers of smaller size still have value in the NFL. We've seen it before, but Tez is small and also not super fast.
He's fast enough.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on Tez Johnson.
And what I like about Tez Johnson, A+ foot speed, and he's a great route runner, which you need to be a slot receiver. So, and he's bigger than Calvin Austin. So,
I guess, but I'm not shooting the moon for Calvin Austin here. But I don't know. I think Collins or Judkins makes a ton of sense as well. I know you like Tez. I'm not going to fight you on it, but I don't think he's going to be an NFL wide receiver. I'll say it now. He's a guy I don't really believe in.
Well, my team, so I'm going to pick it.
All right. You didn't fight me for my Vikings picks. I won't fight for the Steelers.
All right, Bucks here go Alfred Collins. Broncos. Oh,
Minnesota.
Denzel Burke. What'd they give? 97 and a fourth next year.
Yeah, it ain't bad. Or as I call him, Denzel Burnt Toast.
All right, corner. Siobhan Rebel, JT Tuimoloau for the Chargers. What do we got here? Not going to take that from the Colts. That one's actually not bad value. 2 high 4th round picks. But no, sorry, Panthers.
No, I think we talked about it earlier. I like Elijah Arroyo here. Maybe even.
Yeah. No, I like Arroyo more. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Helm. Very productive at Texas, but I got to see Arroyo firsthand in person at the Senior Bowl. Very impressive, just physically. And I was impressed with his speed and his movement. Route running ability was fantastic. I think he's got some good foundational blocking skills. Obviously, most rookie tight ends struggle in that area anyways. But you have a great blocking tight end to learn from in Will Dissly anyways, who became just ridiculously a crazy good wide receiver last year somehow. But yeah, I think with corner and edge secured for the first 2 picks, the only other thing I would look at is, let me see, what else? What else did I?
Do you think they'd go running back?
I would not be opposed to it. They only signed Najee to a 1-year deal, and other than that, they got Hassan Haskins, who's I think is slow as hell. Kimani Vidal is shifty, but he's very small. So is Jarrett Patterson. So running back still makes a ton of sense, even with the Najee signing.
Yeah. I mean, I think Judkins makes sense in terms of pure value. I didn't expect him to be all the way down here. I thought he'd go early 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah, I am with you though. I do like Arroyo. Actually, I like Scatterboo more than I do Judkins. I know you're not as high on Scatterboo, but
I'm not super high on him.
But I would go Arroyo. Tight end's more of a need, I think. With really only Will Dissly. Sorry to the families of
the other tight ends,
Tucker Fisk and McAllen Castles. But yeah, with only really Will Dissly at the tight end position, I think you need to beef up that position and give Herbert a solid option over the middle there. I like your Arroyo pick.
Mm-hmm. I like Arroyo. Judkins wouldn't be bad, but I think they could get a running back in the 4th.
Yeah, deep running back class. Jordan Hancock for the Packers. There goes Quinshon Judkins, the Jags. Jared Wilson, go Dogs, the Texans. Ashton Gelati to the Rams. Ravens going Barrett Carter. Seahawks get Terrence Ferguson. Zy Alexander for the Saints. Browns going Jordan Birch. Chiefs, Jonas Senker. Gunnar Helm to the Eagles. Love that. Need some depth behind Dallas Goedert. David Walker, interesting one for the Broncos. Jack Sawyer to the Dolphins. Giants going Dylan Fairchild. Go Dogs. Smile Munden. Go Dogs. 49ers. Shamar Turner to the Rams, and the Lions taking Kobe Bryant to end the mock draft. So here's what we got. Chargers, we got Siobhan Revel, JT Tuimoloau out, Elijah Arroyo. I think that is an excellent draft for the Chargers in the first 3 rounds. And I really like this one as well. Jahdae Barron and Tez Johnson for the Steelers. We didn't do any trades today. We were close on maybe 1 or 2. But unfortunately, Jimmy, I like the Chargers draft better than I do the Steelers.
I think just having 3 picks as opposed to 2 is just good.
Right.
I think our best move, honestly, was not trading back from 21 with the Steelers. I think that was a very tempting offer from the Bills, but I think the best thing was to stick and pick and get Barron there.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That is the show for today. Yeah, nothing coming up here. UFL, baby. UFL week 1 is next week, people. Yes, March 28th or whatever it kicks off, I think. March 30th, something like that. March 28th, next Friday, it kicks off. So we will have a UFL game going on during the show. It'll be crazy. But anyways, of course, we'll continue to have all your NFL news, college football if it comes up, UFL news as well. But we're going to continue the mock draft series. Bengals Seahawks next Monday. On Friday this week, we got the Bucks and the Broncos. So make sure you tune in if you're a fan of either of those teams. Hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully, we can get our boy John Babington out next Monday of his office to come do a mock draft with us. But that's the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast, Instagram and X, FAA_bets on X as well. FAApodcast.com is our website. Check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and TikTok at FAA.podcast. Happy March Madness, everyone. Get your brackets in, make some money, and we will see y'all back for Football Friday.